This is just a little clip because I wanted to share something that's been on my mind, and I'd like to actually get other people's opinions on it as well, if I'm honest. It's something that I've been thinking about as we've been sort of going back to gigs and working back out on the road and doing all these shows, and it's so awesome to be back out doing that. And something that's come up for me is, I think in the last 18 months, if I'm really honest, I really started to question sort of why I love touring and playing live gigs and questioning if it's something that, not if I want to stop now. That was never really my thought process, but just sort of thinking about my career in general and where I wanted to go with it and how it felt. The comparison between being at home so much versus being away from home and that sort of side of it. And I was really quite apprehensive going into gigs again in the sort of weeks leading up to it, and that was kind of like that feeling of apprehension then added another layer of sort of anxiety onto the already sort of existing anxiety that comes from the pressure of performing. And it really started to bring up the question for me of, why am I doing, really why and who am I playing for? What's the sort of drive towards it, and is it for me, is it for the fans, is it for the band, is it for add your own sort of option in there, and it's really made me think of why and who I'm doing this for, and it's kind of been in my mind, and I don't think there's really one answer. And this is what I think I'm trying to share this with all you guys and see what you think and open it up to you, because I'm sure it's different for each person. I'm sure each individual has their own opinion on this and their own thought on this. But I just think the way that our industry's been, or what our industry has had to go through in the last 17, 18 months, the world has had to go through, but it's definitely made some interesting thoughts and feelings come up for myself and certainly other musicians that I've been talking to. And yeah, back to the sort of question of who am I doing this for and why am I doing this? And I'm slowly coming to the realization that actually it's not one of those things. It's not just one. As I'm sure all the musicians that are watching this know, that some gigs are better than others for lots of different reasons. There could be, so for an example, our show last week at the festival, festival changeovers, as we know, can be a bit of a nightmare. Changing over bands in such a quick period of time, lots of stuff going on, it can be stressful, and it can take away the sort of creative side and the sort of love side of doing it, and the art side of performing. But then other times you get ones that just magic. Some gigs it just clicks, and it it's giving me goosebumps thinking about it. That you just get those gigs that are just perfect. Everything kind of lines up and it just works so well. And I think in each ends of that scale, there's different reasons for doing it and different reasons for it feeling a certain way. And yeah, it's just brought up a lot of these questions, and I like sharing this with you all because hopefully it resonates with some of you as well. And yeah, to bring it back to that answer, that actually for me, I think it's not one answer. It changes. Some days I'm playing for me, some days I'm playing for the band, some days I'm playing for the audience, or even in a show, it changes all of that. It might encompass all of those things, and it's a lot for us to go out on stage and do that, and perform and really kind of bare our soul in many ways. Maybe not as drummers so much in terms of the words we're using, like singers write it out, but certainly emotionally there's a lot of investment in that, and creatively, and the feeling that we're kind of sort of getting into or putting into each piece, whether it's live or studio or whatever it is. But maybe it's an interesting question for you to ask yourself. It's some food for thought. Who are you doing it for? Spend a little time, maybe answer that question. And it can seem like, I thought when that question came into my mind, I thought, oh God, that's quite heavy, it's quite big. But but actually it's brought me a lot of peace, sort of addressing that and looking at it, and yeah, and it's worked for me, and hopefully it will work for you. I'll leave you with that. Hope you're doing well. Peace.